So today we're going to look at a Colorado hospital that's decided not to give organ transplants to unvaccinated patients. That's heavily controversial. I'm not a doctor. I don't even know where to start with that.
For me,
Pause. Yeah, you I have
ask
nowhere to
me,
start with that.
disclaimer: I'm vaccinated, fully vaccinated, but uh, I don't know. To be honest with you,
That's a tough.
it's a tough one. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of unfair too. Because we don't go around saying like people have cancer who smoke all their lives, right?
Yeah.
When they get cancer, that kind of stuff, we when they get to the hospital, we don't say, "Oh, by the way, we're not gonna treat you because you've been smoking the last 30 years or 20 years."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think, for me personally, what I believe, it, it's fall in line with that. So if the patient came to the hospital, well, you gotta treat him.
Yeah.
You shouldn't ask him a question. Oh, like you know what I mean? Oh, you've been smoking all this, or 20 years, why you keep smoking when you know that it's bad for you. So I think if they show up at the hospital, they feel bad, they have something. So as a doctor or nurse, it's your job just take care of them and all that stuff. So I don't think it's not, I think it's inappropriate to do, to send them
Yeah.
home for
That's
not
almost kind
having.
of, yeah, it's almost kind of like determining who actually in a way lives or dies based on if they've been vaccinated. I
Yeah.
mean, just because unvaccination keeps you out of the hospital doesn't necessarily mean that. I'm sorry. Just because you're vaccinated keeps you supposedly keeps you out of the hospital doesn't necessarily mean that an unvaccinated person is gonna die or they're gonna get sick. So they're just assuming that everybody who's unvaccinated is just gonna suffer fatality, so they shouldn't get an organ.
No,
And I think that's
the article, the Washington Post article was saying the reason the hospital, this hospital in Colorado was doing it, the men were based like it's costing them more money to treat those people, those patients who are vaccinated who show up at the hospital
I
compared to
mean
somebody,
unvaccinated.
to the people vaccinated when they show up at the hospital. So it's technically they have short time staying. You know what I mean? Because they're vaccinated compared to those who are not vaccinated. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it takes them longer to take care of them. So they quote unquote that hospital in Colorado, they saying like oh, if you vaccinated, maybe we don't need to, you know what I mean, to waste that much time, you know what I mean, taking care of you. And on top of that too, because it's an organ transplant, so technically they're saying, oh, because you don't really want to, you don't take care of yourself. That's technically that's why they did. When I was reading the article, that's what I kind of read. Like they technically saying, oh, because you don't take care of yourself, you know what I mean, you don't want really follow the things, we're gonna give the kidney or something else to somebody else who's kind of more proactive, you know what I mean, more trying to do the good things so they can stay in a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, either that doesn't make that doesn't
Doesn't make it right.
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah, I
make
don't
it
think
right.
that it make it, that thing makes it right, right?
Yeah,
Like I said,
because if
we
they didn't
don't.
want to live, they wouldn't come and get another organ. Yeah,
Yes.
so I think that shows a person wants to live. It's just that they're just afraid. A lot of people are afraid of needles. They're afraid of the vaccine. They just
And of course it's also a slippery slope road, that kind of things.
yeah,
What's next? You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Well, today you're not vaccinated, we're not gonna give you services.
yeah,
Tomorrow, oh, you smoke too much, we're not gonna give you service.
yeah. Or you're
And
diabetic.
you too fat. You know what I mean? You're not
Yeah,
running. You're not doing anything. That kind of stuff. We're not gonna treat you. So
yeah,
when you know what I mean? When you
yeah.
where you start, when you stop.
Yeah, and I think that hospital in Colorado is whoever made that decision is that was a very bad decision. Like, I guess they're basing it on finances. Even that, I always had a problem with people using finances as to determine somebody's life or health, which I think, but that's a whole other topic. As far as I think money is God to some people because
Yeah.
it determines so many things. They use it to determine so many things when it shouldn't. It overrides type of moral or higher principle. It's because if you're a health professional, your first, I would think your first priority, then to take an oath is,
To take oath, yes.
yeah,
That's to treat anybody. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly,
Anybody. You know
yeah,
what I mean? A criminal, regular person. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Old, young.
yeah,
They do it
because they
because that's
don't,
their job.
yeah, they can't predict the future.
Yeah.
It's all based on guesswork. I mean, sometimes the guesswork is accurate, but yeah, they can't predict the future. So I think that's not the best path to go. I think I read that some patients are actually looking out of that state to look for treatment or for the organ, for the
Yeah. For
organ treatment.
you
Yeah,
mean the unvaccinated people?
yeah, in the unvaccinated people, the people that went to that hospital and they were refused. I heard they
Yeah.
were looking out of state for options.
Yeah, because even the center that does the distribution for organs in the U.S. They say that they don't do that kind of stuff. They say that it's kind of discrimination, right? They
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that we don't do that. We just give it to whatever priority, whatever matches that kind of stuff.
and that's life and
So
death.
that's actually is the hospital this specific hospital choosing to do that by themselves. They chose
Right.
to just okay, we're gonna do it this way. Like oh, if you're not vaccinated, we're not gonna
Right.
give you anything. So I think it's wrong. It's 100% wrong.
And that could
You know
set
what
a
I mean?
new precedent. What if somebody decides to sue the hospital? That's a whole new precedent they could set. They're already setting a precedent right now with that decision, but that could just set a whole new group of precedents.
Yeah, and the thing is, we gotta treat because nobody knows what you have today. You know what I mean? You can get
Right.
sick today and wow,
Heal
that
tomorrow.
kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and heal tomorrow, that kind of stuff. And that's the other thing too with organ transplant. It's not always 100% guarantee, eh?
Right,
Because
right.
sometimes you get like how you call that.
Rejection.
Yeah, you get rejection. Your body doesn't take it well.
Right.
Then you have more complication, and that's yet the same hospital is using that against the patient. He's saying, "Oh, because you know vaccinated that kind of stuff. Maybe if you give you organ, then you're gonna have more complication because." Maybe you have corona, this and
Right.
that kind of stuff. So it's much easier for your body to reject. So they saying, quote unquote, we can just give it to somebody else who kind of has less probability of having
Yeah.
issue with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think we'll just conclude that it's just sets a very bad precedent, and I don't know if that should be if the distribution center for the organs doesn't do that. I think it's gonna create problems in Colorado or that particular hospital system.
Yeah,
Colorado.
and I think it shouldn't be that way. It should be like whatever priority, whatever the doctors they decide who's gonna get it. No questions asked. We don't care if you smoke. We don't care if you never took the vaccine. Just give it to that person, and it matches. It matches. That
Yeah.
the way it should go.
Yeah.
Because we don't ask smokers. You know what I mean? Like you have cancer now. We're not gonna treat you because you've been smoking 20 years, or people like overweight, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. We'll put a link to the article below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to send us an email. Thank you for giving us a listen.